I recall meeting my partner at a club, okay?
Okay.
And he was already there. As I came up, I saw like three girls kind of flirting with him and like getting
Hands all
drinks.
over
Yeah,
him, or
yeah,
like
like
just like
really close.
it's like, wow, your
And
biceps are so big, you know?
so then I was like, oh wow, interesting. Welcome to another episode of Men Explain. Today's topic hits home a little bit, and I'm kind of concerned about this one. I hardly ever say that. But the topic's about clubbing. Should we be worried if our partner is a frequent clubber? Now, today I've got a special friend here with me. I've known him for quite some time, and guess where we met? At a party, in a club. It's MYRNE.
Mhm.
Please welcome MYRNE.
Hello, thanks Sonia. Thanks for having me. My name is MYRNE. I'm a DJ producer based in Singapore, and yeah, I go to clubs quite a bit to work and to enjoy myself.
Okay, so before we delve into the topic, you work at the club, but you also enjoy partying, right?
Yeah.
So how do you sort of differentiate that? Do you, when you go there, are you like work mode and then you also go there to party
I
without working?
guess because it's kind of like a workplace for me, right? So I go there really just to. It sounds cheesy, but I go there to listen to music, to
Really?
do
Okay.
research, to
Really? All the time? Okay.
yeah. Most of the times, unless you go to like
Yeah.
a party club
Yeah.
or something. But yeah, I think most of it is I can split it quite well.
So when you first started DJing, did it make dating challenging for you?
I think not really. I think it's more so just finding a person that manages those schedules a bit better because you're working through Friday, Saturday, the weekend. Just so finding someone that can manage those times. Yeah, that's all you need, I think.
So why do you think clubbing has such a bad rep then? Because from our point of
Yeah.
view, or from your point of view, it's
Yep.
quite professional, clearly,
hmm
because you're also working and
hmm
it's also like networking, you meet a lot of people there. Why do you think it has such a bad rep?
Well, this is my
Yeah.
experience, playing in Asia and mostly in the US. I would go to a lot of raves in the US, and people there, like, it was very dingy. Like, you
Oh,
would pay, I think, like $5 to enter. Drinks were super cheap. So people were just there to catch, artists or catch like some really cool performances. Whereas here, clubbing is kind of like a refined kind of societal
is it?
triggering. Like you kind of go there to either spend money
To
or to
flex?
flex, yeah,
Yeah.
conspicuous consumption, buy some bottles and all that.
Sometimes it's like
Some,
a whole bathtub of it.
yeah,
I only see it in Asia,
yeah,
honestly.
same.
Yeah.
So I guess that's where the difference lies. Like.
Okay, so then taking your perception of what clubbing is in Asia, you think that's why it has struck up a bad name? Like, oh, people just have this impression: guys go there to flex to girls, pick
Uh-huh.
girls up.
Uh-huh.
Girls go there to look for rich guys. Is that what it is?
I think so, and I think it's just a matter of time. Like, given enough time, any kind of scene or industry will progress, and also that I think running a club in Singapore is really hard.
Yeah,
So the clubs that tend to survive are
the big ones.
those that encourage like the spending kind of mentality. So I mean, naturally it follows that these behaviors are also kind of not prioritized, but put in the spotlight, lah.
Okay, so from your experience, what do you then enjoy about the nightlife scene?
Okay, like this is a super mundane point, but this is, I think, going out to a club is the only time I can catch some of my friends.
Oh,
Cause
true.
yeah,
Yeah.
because people work weird hours, long hours. I think like first of all, it's easy to catch them. When it's night. And second, I think Singapore is also a pretty good spot for electronic music in general, live music. Like lots of DJs, lots of bands come through. So you get a lot of really interesting performances. Like that's what I really enjoy.
I completely agree because I've gotten into some arguments before, like with my current partner and my previous partners, about the fact that I like to go out and party. And I think it's because of this perception that, oh, when you go out to party, it's really just like, oh, bad behavior or like, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff that rack up, bad
Yeah.
reputation
Yeah.
for the club. But to be honest, generally I will go if I like the DJ, firstly. I need to like the music. If not, there's no point of me going out at all. Like I connect with the music. I want to like have fun with my friends. And these are the things that I enjoy going out for. So I'm going to read you a couple of stereotypes and you tell me whether
Sure.
you think it's true,
Okay.
okay?
Sure.
Of frequent party goers.
Yeah.
And then I feel like we need to dispel some of these points over here. Okay. So the first point is they love to party always looking for a good time, indulging in excessive drinking, or looking for casual sexual encounters and engaging in risky behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, do you think,
What is
valid?
risky behavior?
I don't know. What is risky behavior? You guys tell me.
I think clubbing as a whole is kind of you assign whatever value you want to it.
Mm,
Like clubbing also means different things to different people, right? So
true.
some people, like it could really just mean going to like a Thai disco.
Right. Oh, that's not my thing though. I can't do it.
Sure, yeah. But for some people it means that. Some people it means, going to like a mega club
Yeah.
and buying some drinks and having a good time. I don't think it's necessarily like a reflection of who you are, lah.
Yeah.
No,
I think it's so misunderstood
Sure,
sometimes.
yeah.
Because also like when your single friends are single, they'll
Mhm.
be like, oh hey, let's go. Like, let's go, I
Yeah,
don't know.
go hunting.
Yeah. Let's go wreck shit up or whatever.
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
Next point. They are superficial, materialistic, very focused on physical appearance, expensive items, and seeking shallow pursuits. These are very strong words, guys.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
did you get this survey from? Do you think that is necessarily the case?
Yeah, maybe. I think some.
Small
sure.
percentage,
Small
maybe?
percentage,
Yeah.
sure. But I mean, to be frank, I think everyone looks good in like the dark
Oh.
light, So
Okay.
sure, I
The dark
guess.
and beer goggles.
Yeah,
Everyone
yeah.
looks good.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
100 times
And
better.
at 5 a.m. the lights turn on, you're like,
You're
oh
like, whoa.
shit.
Even I look at myself, I'm scared.
Mm.
At 5 a.m., I'm like, whoa,
Sure,
what was
sure.
going on? Okay.
Yeah.
The next one, they lack commitment and stability. Spending frequent nights at a club could imply that they're not serious at looking at long-term commitments or anything serious at all. It could also seem to suggest that these individuals lead a more spontaneous and independent lifestyle.
Ooh.
My partner's gonna have a lot to say about this. I think.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
this is a constant point of contention for us.
Really?
Yeah.
So like what do you guys usually like, so when you go out you don't really go out together, or you go out?
So we do. It's just that I think, okay, have you ever heard of the phrase like people ask you, when are you gonna grow out of this? Or
Mm.
when are you gonna stop partying? Have you heard that
Yeah,
being
yeah,
thrown out?
yeah.
Okay,
Yes, yes.
I personally dislike that because I meet a lot of people who they never grow out of it. I don't think that's something you need to
No.
grow out of. You're
No.
not excessively doing it. If you just enjoy music, you enjoy going out, I don't think there's anything to grow out of.
No.
Like, don't
Yeah.
hate me for saying that, but
I definitely agree. I think it's not really, it's just another thing that people like to do.
yeah,
I don't think it innately carries any kind of connotations.
yeah.
And I think it's fine. Like if you really like clubbing, well, it depends what you like clubbing for.
Exactly.
Right? So
Yeah, I think there's so many layers to it
Sure.
when, people throw that term around. I think
Mhm.
immediately they think, oh, late nights, bad behavior, when are you going to grow out of that?
Mm-hmm,
But yeah, it's really what you want to make out of it. Okay, last point here, tell me if you agree with it. They're irresponsible. Partygoers are depicted as individuals who neglect responsibilities, where they prioritize having fun over other important aspects of their lives. I disagree.
Like what? Like what else is there in life to do
I-
except go to Zouk,
I mean,
Like,
I guess people who have normal day jobs, right?
sure.
Because our hours are a bit different.
Yeah. No, I think everyone needs some kind of release or like a place just to have fun. And it could be perfectly innocent, I think.
Yeah. But even, okay, when it comes to drinking, right? Sometimes it's more often than not, it's the alcohol that makes you do stupid things. You
Mhm.
drink too much, you do stupid things. And then it becomes a question of whether you can make a conscious decision to stop at a certain point. Because
Yeah.
I think clubbing as a whole is not a bad thing. It's the consumption of alcohol.
Sure.
Actually,
yeah.
that's
yeah,
how I
yeah,
feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you go out like for a good night without any alcohol?
Oh yeah,
Right?
I've been trying that out. I think
Oh,
after COVID.
How's that working out?
Okay, quite
Okay.
okay. Now I'm just the kind of guy that, will have a craft beer and I'm like, oh, I love the aftertaste on this or something.
Really?
I think prior to COVID, like a few years ago, I would get, really drunk. Like
Yeah.
I would use alcohol as a crutch.
Yeah.
Because I think what alcohol is, it just increases your agency and lowers your inhibitions.
Mm-hmm.
So it really depends like what is there at the surface, right?
Yeah.
I guess for a lot of people, it's like liquid courage. It's like, I don't know how to talk to girls. If I get drunk, I'm going to be able to pick up anyone. Sure.
Mm.
But really, if you're drinking alcohol, it just means you're just having a good time. And there's no, I think, natively negative connotation that comes with that.
Yeah, I think unfortunately it's just the stuff that we see sometimes on social media of people like,
yeah.
Being a wreck or I don't know, getting up to stupid things. out there.
Fighting.
Yeah, fighting. Yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff that gives the whole industry like a bad name.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
speaking of which, have you ever been stereotyped because of your job or because you're in nightlife?
Yeah, sure. They definitely assume things
Mm.
based off like, oh, so you love partying, you love going out. And I don't really enjoy it as much as people think I
Mm.
do.
Mm.
I think like when I go out clubbing, it's really just to see music.
Mm.
Like I can go sober,
Yeah.
I can go alone or with my partner. So yeah, I think everyone is totally different.
So you mentioned that you can go out with your partner, you
Yeah.
can party with her. How did you guys talk about this? Is she also
No,
very similar to you in terms of
yeah,
personality?
super similar. And also we met while she was working for a club, like not during the nightlife periods, but I think like doing marketing or in the day.
Okay.
And we both love live music, we both love electronic music. So I think it's quite compatible and quite easy. Sometimes I'll be like, I want to see this person, and then she'll be like, oh, I don't want, I kind of want to stay at home. I said, okay, I'll just go and check it out for a little bit, come back. Yeah.
So she's okay with you going out to party alone?
Yeah.
And you're okay with her going out to party
Yeah,
alone?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so tell me more about that, because I think this is a point of contention for a lot of couples. When you're in a committed relationship, it makes it more difficult for you to do your own thing, especially partying late at night.
Yeah.
Right?
It really depends, well, a lot on trust and communication. So I guess just communicate well with your partner and trust. Like we both earnestly love music.
Yeah.
So we'll go out just to see music and just have a good time. And then together, more times together than not, I'd
And
say,
you've
yeah.
never had a fight about anything related to partying
No,
before?
I guess the one, yeah, no, this was a few years ago, like really
Okay.
early on. Right?
Okay.
I think I was touring the US, and they were here in Singapore. And you know, like how in LA time, like you wake up and then it's Singapore, maybe like midnight. So like by the time you have lunch in LA, it's around 4 a.m. in Singapore
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
So I was like texting her lunch, I was like, are you home yet? Do you get home safe? And then just no reply. So obviously as a guy, you assume the worst, but really they just, fell asleep after
Yeah.
getting home,
Yeah, okay.
But that wasn't even a real fight or anything, I think.
But how did you react then? Were you...
I'm just like, oh, this is kind of immature. Like, why am I worrying about this? Like, you should.
So you
But
pulled yourself back?
yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
You kind of notice that, they're a grown person. Like, they're an adult. Like, they can take care of themselves. So, yeah, not too big of a deal, I think.
That's a good point, because for me, I've definitely been in a situation like that where I'm overseas, the time difference is huge. I could be replying at a weird time or whatsoever. Unfortunately, it did result in a couple of really big fights before, because I think,
No.
okay, for my partner and I don't know whether I want him to watch this episode, honestly. For us, like, I would say he's in a different phase of life a little bit. So I don't know whether in his mind he's like, okay, I'm kind of over this whole scene. Like, maybe I'll only come out if I really like the DJ or whatever. But for me, I'm more spontaneous. Like, I could be having dinner with my girlfriends, okay? I mean, if you're watching this now, see if you relate. I could be having dinner with my girlfriends, or we're chatting, we have a couple of bottles of wine. Suddenly, a genius goes, guys, you want to go out? And we're like, yeah, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
To me, I'm like, yeah, okay, sure, because I'm super spontaneous and I just go with the flow, right?
Yeah.
But for him, he's more like, okay, I'm going to plan my day and like I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then I'm going to sleep by like midnight.
I see.
So
I
he's
see.
that kind, even though we're both Capricorn, but he's like a very like
Okay.
organized Capricorn.
Okay.
I am like the go with the wind kind of Capricorn, So in that sense, we clash. Because if I tell him like, hey, this was very spontaneous. We decided at dinner like that we wanted to go. He'd be like, are you sure you didn't already want to go? And then like, you still don't want to tell me. And then like I'm not saying who's right and who's wrong, because I think we just have both different ways of seeing the situation.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it kind of causes some points of contention between the two of us. We just treat this whole thing very differently. He's not as spontaneous as I am, but to give him credit, I think over the years, he has tried to be more spontaneous.
Warmed up a little bit. Like.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He's tried to understand, like, oh, for example, we go to events often.
Yeah.
Or it could be related to work, and then it escalates, and he's like, okay, I'll try to be more okay with that and try to let go a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can even relate to that. Oh,
I can
you
relate.
Seem to have,
I think I'm the one that sleeps at midnight.
Oh,
Sometimes,
really?
yeah.
Except when you're working.
Except when I'm working. But in Singapore, not too much. Like, we don't really play too much. But yeah, my girlfriend will have the exact. She's a Capricorn as well, so she will have dinner with her girlfriends, and then she'll decide like, okay, we need to check out this blah blah blah.
We need to check
we
out.
Have to.
We
It's
have
a
to.
Priority.
We have no choice. Yeah.
Utmost, my number one priority. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going. And
Okay.
then
Oh, so you go.
sometimes I'll go. Sometimes if I'm really beat and I had a long day or something, I'll just be like, okay, just let me know when you get home, I
Yeah.
guess.
And
So
it's okay when she's like, oh, but it's a girls' night.
mhm.
Will you be cool with that?
I don't really care about that. It's like girls, guys. I don't feel any kind of concern or anything.
Mm.
You're going out, you're having a good time. Like I trust you and we communicate. As long as you don't, like puke in the bed or anything,
Yeah.
it's fine, I guess.
That's quite, I mean, yeah, that's the bare minimum.
Yeah.
I've never done
Sure.
that, I think.
You think?
I've never done
Okay.
that.
Okay.
So yeah, definitely trust and communication is so important, right? But my question is for those of us who are still navigating that, for our viewers who are listening in and really trying to get some tips from this, how
Mhm.
do you even start a conversation like that? How do you even talk about trust when you go partying, clubbing? How
Yeah.
do you even communicate that without having any sort of tiff or meltdown?
Sure, I get that. Well, first off, I think my personal experience was quite different. Like we were both like working in nightclubs, we were
Yeah.
both in nightclubs. So we're
That
like really
helped, you think?
that helped a lot
Yeah.
because like we've seen it for what it is and what it isn't, and like whatever you get out of it is just what you want, right? So I think when you're talking about this with someone who's not really like a clubber or not big into nightlife, I guess honestly, it would just be to go out together, like have a nice night together, just to see how you guys react and like,
Mm,
and even talk about like, okay, I'm going to this club because blah blah blah. Like my friends are there. I want to see this DJ, etc.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it really starts from there.
Yeah.
And I guess if there's any kind of pushback, it's also a sign. I don't know. I don't know what I'd do if my partner said like, "Oh, you can't go clubbing." So like, I don't think I've experienced there. Do you
Yeah,
know what to?
no, my partner has never said you can't go, but
Yeah.
so what we concluded was that if I were to go out, I just have to make sure I set expectations like, okay, it's gonna be a late night, for example.
Mm.
And don't just go off into the wind and be like, oh yeah, maybe another hour or maybe two. If it's gonna be a late night, he just wants me to say it's gonna be a late night and
Yeah.
just state it there in black and white so that he has no expectations of me coming back like now or like in the next half an hour.
Yeah.
So I think that really helps. That was one thing that we ironed out. The other thing that I also promised to do was say like when I get home. So if I am going back myself or back to my own apartment and stuff, I'll just have to let him know like I'm on the way back now or like I'm home and I'm going to sleep. So then he's more at peace, I guess, with. So I think that's fair. I
Yeah,
think
that's a
fair.
great point actually. I
Yeah.
think if you're going out alone, I guess, let you know when you get home
Yeah.
or
And
keep your
also,
phone on,
yeah, if I'm with friends, I mean, he knows all my friends.
Yeah.
So I'll just tell him like, oh, who I'm with.
Mm.
Then at least if he can't reach me, at least he can reach someone if everyone is still sober. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
but I guess that could help
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you're navigating a situation like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I've been in situations where, I'm out partying or whatever it is, like my followers or people who recognize me want to take photos. And sometimes
Oh,
I look dead drunk
no.
in those pictures, guys.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so I started to learn over the years. I was like, firstly, I need to pull it back a little bit when I'm out because I never know who's taking pictures, videos, whatever. And I don't want them to have this perception, although it can be stressful, through some not so great experiences here in Singapore, I kind of learned how to just really like
Wow.
control that a bit more.
Did you ever have like someone actually do that and then like a photo went public or
Yeah, so I think it's more if they just post whatever they like, right?
yeah,
Or they're
yeah.
like, oh, and then when I see it, I'm like, oh my God, this person has, and it doesn't matter how many followers this person has, okay?
Yeah.
Like, you never know where this photo is gonna go.
It's just a bad photo lah
It's
sometimes.
just, I just look like I'm not,
been there, I guess.
conscious.
Yeah, been there.
Been there? Okay, what happened?
Nothing, I guess. Yeah. So you go out, especially at very hitty electronic music events, like
yeah.
people who I'm fans of. Usually they listen to me as well.
Yep.
And then I'm really having a good time, like I'm
Yeah.
dancing and getting drunk.
Yeah.
And then people come up to me and try to have like a conversation about music production.
Oh
and-
my God.
and I'm
Why
like,
do they want to have such a
Um,
deep conversation at that time?
I mean, I'll try my best to kind of engage, but I think in the middle I'll lose the plot or something and be
Yeah.
like, "Yo, it's nice to meet you, man. I gotta go drink some water or something."
yeah.
Yeah.
You're just worried about giving off like an impression.
I think it's fine. I feel like we're humans, like we're all human, and I think it's normal to be,
Mm.
slightly inebriated at like
Yeah.
a nightclub.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think it's just this country's so small, everyone kind of
Oh,
knows.
true.
And
Yeah.
then they're gonna be
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I saw like Sonia that
Yeah.
day and she was like dead drunk, and then like
Yeah.
tell the next person and the
Yeah.
story changes. I'm telling you, even that day it was at a friend's party, okay, not even at a club.
Mm-hmm.
It was a friend's birthday party. And we had a couple of shots, whatever. She asked me to help her say some stuff on the mic because naturally work hazard, right? Like and she had nobody to help her out. So I was like, okay, I'll
Yeah.
help her. Then I don't know what I said. I cracked a joke about her or something. And then some girls in the back started bitching about me. And my
Oh,
friend,
no.
my close friend was standing in front of them.
Yep.
And they said something like, why is she behaving like that? She's married. And then my friend goes, she's not married, like firstly. And so why does it even matter? She's just helping her friend out, like, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And it's just small things like that. That this wasn't even at a club, I'm telling you. It was at a friend's party. And these are like, what, minimum 1 degree of separation?
Yeah.
Like friend of
Yeah.
a friend at the most. And
Mhm.
they're already talking like that. Can you
Mm.
imagine if it's a complete stranger?
I think people will say stuff all the time.
Regardless,
So yeah,
right?
regardless.
Have you heard any funny things about yourself before?
No, not really. I try to keep tapped out, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, just not pay attention to anything. But
You-
no, I don't think I'm that kind of level of
He seems pretty chill. Honestly, like
yeah,
I know quite a few DJs in the local scene. You're one of the most like I'm in my zone, chilling
a
kind of.
little bit like hit in the clouds type
Yes,
thing. Yeah.
yes.
little
I
bit,
mean,
little bit.
you know, there are other DJs who might seem a little bit more into the lifestyle. Like they have
Mhm.
like tons of girls surrounding them.
Mhm.
I mean, do people sometimes think that of you? Like, oh, when
Nah,
you're
like when I'm DJing, it's all dudes behind, just
Yeah.
like 10 dudes,
10 dudes.
10 guys, like
Yeah.
buff jack guys.
Oh, protecting you, obviously.
Protecting me,
Yeah.
yeah. When I first started out, you know, when you're 17, 18, you don't really know what to do.
Yeah.
And then as like a very geeky, skinny kid at that age, I'm like, oh shit, I'm DJing. Like all these girls are talking to me. What's going on? Like, did I like grow a beard or something? So like that kind of thing gets thrust upon you, especially if you get into music at an early age, I guess.
Okay, so I dated a DJ before.
Oh no.
I'm not gonna say who.
Okay, okay.
This was a long time ago. And I did find myself in moments where I would catch some insecurity because
Mhm.
he was always surrounded by a lot of very attractive girls. And, you know,
I
I'm a bit
see.
more like, I don't wear like bodycon dresses at, you know,
Yeah,
clubs or
yeah,
whatever. I'm just more like I guess I still am wearing like pants every single day
Yeah.
kind of girl. So sometimes I'm like, wow, these girls are so hot. They're wearing like super tight dresses, great figure, whatever, you know, partying and like surrounding him all the time. And I would catch myself thinking like, oh man, like I don't know whether, you know, this is something that I can deal with.
Mhm,
Do
mhm.
guys sometimes see you as a threat?
Oh no.
Never?
No,
Really?
I think I'm harmless, lah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, until I get really close, you know.
Okay, yeah.
But no, I think, you know, my girlfriend will feel sometimes that way, but I think she's also super confident. I'm super confident in like
Yeah.
the communication, the relationship. Sometimes she's always like, "Wow, you got a lot of girls. Well, you go date them, lah." I'm like, "Okay, I wasn't thinking about that anyway,
Yeah.
you know."
But now that you said it, maybe I'm not kidding.
Maybe I might.
Yeah.
But no, I think, yeah, I understand where the insecurity comes from. But
Yeah.
it's really more boring than it looks, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I
yeah.
need to understand
Maybe.
that. I think more people need to understand that. But in general, people sometimes feel like, oh, hey, it's not necessarily about you because I trust you,
Mhm.
but I don't trust the people around you.
Sure.
It's like driving, right? Like I may be the best driver, but the 10 other people around me on the road might be like
Yeah.
crappy drivers and hitting into me or whatever.
Yeah.
How do you then feel about that, or how would you navigate that?
I think if we're talking something innocuous is like, you know, attraction, like you worried about people hitting on your partner in the clubs. I think attraction's like a two-way street. Like it really depends how you reciprocate and
Yeah.
and you know, reject people.
Yeah.
So that's fine if your partner is comfortable with, you know, saying like, no, I have a boyfriend, I have a girlfriend. Yeah, that's fine. But I think that overprotectiveness doesn't really solve anything. Like
It could in
just
fact push people away.
it could push people away, or like your partner will start thinking like, oh, he's treating me like a baby. You're like, I'm not a baby.
Yeah.
So honestly, like if they were gonna leave you for some random guy in a club, I don't think
That's
you guys
the right
had a
person.
chance anyway,
Yeah.
you know? So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this brings up a memory as well. I recall meeting my partner at a club, okay?
Okay.
And he was already there. And when I walked in, I didn't tell him that I was already there. So I just showed up. I mean, I told him I was coming, but like I didn't tell him that I was already there. As I came up, I saw like 3 girls kind of flirting with him and like getting
Hands
drinks.
all over him.
Yeah, yeah,
like,
like
just
really close.
it's like, wow, your
And
biceps are so big, you know?
so then I was like, oh wow, interesting. Because sometimes you think the worst, but sometimes you think like, oh, your man's probably not doing anything at all. He
No.
wasn't doing anything. He was just kind
Yeah.
of standing there. But these three girls were obviously trying to, I guess, scout around or whatever.
Mm.
And I went up and I was like, oh hey, and he immediately is like, oh hey, this is my girlfriend. And obviously they immediately were like, oh okay, and then they faded out, like
Oh,
faded
wow.
faded out.
Like sirens, just going
Yeah,
back in the
no.
ocean.
So I think it's really also how you handle it, right?
Yeah.
As someone who works in nightlife, do you often get girls coming up to you and trying to get friendly and stuff? And how do
Yeah.
you deal with that / shut it down?
Yeah.
Or is a little flirtation okay?
Well, it really depends, I guess. No, well, I guess within the context of relationship, I guess flirting would be, no, well,
Not
whatever you
acceptable.
guys decide. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely not acceptable. But sometimes people will talk to you in a club, and like I guess you have to be friendly. You just don't want to be that stuck-up person, like
Yeah.
standing in a corner and not talking to anybody. So I think, yeah, talking is fine.
Yeah.
And it just really, I guess if you feel guilty doing it, then you probably know you're doing something wrong. So
That's a good point.
that's like the bare minimum, I guess.
But when do you know to say like, oh, I'm seeing someone, or like, oh, do you ever have to say that, or you just kind of with your body language
I
kind of
don't
shut
know,
it
I
down?
guess in the club, I'm wearing my monk robes and my gigantic, like cross. So I'm just like,
Okay. Stay away.
stay away, stay away. Got my holy tome with me.
I might see that after like 5 tequila shots, but
Perhaps.
Yeah, how-
No, I guess, yeah, sometimes people can be really direct.
what was the most direct, I don't
I
know,
guess
approach you've ever
like
experienced?
a while, like long time ago, I guess when I was like playing nightclubs in LA, I guess people would get like there would be so many people backstage. There'll be more people backstage than in the club. So it was just like a little party,
Yeah.
and then people on the dance floor, but there are more people in the party
Yeah.
behind. And then they would ask just really direct things like, oh shit, where's your hotel? Is it near here? Can we go check it out? I'm like, why do you want to check out my hotel?
Can we go check it out?
I was like a
Okay.
young kid, right? So I
Yeah.
didn't know what was going on. But yeah, nothing happened. So I guess it helps to be quite direct, saying like, oh, I'm seeing someone. I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah. Okay, so but it's really up to your own, I
Yeah,
guess,
yeah.
morals.
Really, yeah.
Yeah.
If you feel wrong doing it, that's on you.
Yeah. So as a person who enjoys going out, what are some tips you would say? I mean, you're in a committed relationship, and stuff. And now looking back at your previous relationships, what have you learned from all of this? Because I'm sure that in your previous relationships, you might have thought a little bit more about such things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think sometimes when you're seeing other people and they don't really understand what you do, like I think I was dating this girl who had never set foot into a club till like 25 or 26.
Wow. How did that go?
Oh, how did the relationship go? I think terrible.
Oh.
These early days of my career, I was like playing to nobody. I was playing to like 2 people who came early,
Okay.
and they got a little better at the end, but she would just be like, who talked to you today? Or like, who is with you? Like, are you alone right now? You have to set some kind of expectations, I guess, before. So like
Yeah.
right now, we're quite comfortable with where we are.
Yeah.
And going to a club for both of us doesn't bring us any kind of like sexual joy or like happiness or anything. It's just
think
like
there it
a
is.
place we gotta go to
Yeah.
like see friends, kind of like
Have
work,
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and have fun. Yeah.
So I just want to make it clear, like just because we like staying out and like enjoying
Yeah.
music doesn't mean
yeah.
that it's necessarily going to end in any sort of unsavory manner.
Yeah.
Is that what
yeah.
you're saying?
People go to clubs for different reasons,
Yeah.
I guess. Some people go there to sign contracts.
Right.
Some people go there to, flex. Some people go there to dance.
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of dancers or like b-boys who just go to the club to like get a workout and like, sometimes they start a circle and it's like really popping.
Yeah. I mean, I just go there for cardio. That's my like.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
I keep my phone on
Your
and then
tracker.
the step counter.
What is it? I'm so curious that I never keep my tracker on. But I feel quite worked out.
Yeah.
After
yeah.
this entire
I
night.
think an hour will get you maybe like 2,000 steps or something.
That's
if you're
great.
bopping around.
Yeah. So to
yeah,
everyone
good
who asks
workout.
what my workout routine is, that's honestly part of it. Okay. Before we wrap things up, any last notes that you want to share to dispel any sort of, I don't know, misconceptions about nightlife at all that you feel we haven't addressed?
I think the nightlife scene in Singapore, especially Singapore, is very varied and very deep. Like you can find lots of little pockets of whatever kind of genres you really
Yeah.
like house, techno, like trance, dubstep, UKG. There's a lot of scenes everywhere, lots of cool pop-ups. It's more than just like going to a club and buying bottles. So
Yes.
even if you think you've never heard of the concept of going to a club to enjoy music, I definitely recommend trying it out at some cooler pop-up parties.
I like you brought that up because recently I noticed there's been an insurgence of more
Yeah,
smaller underground type sort of parties.
yeah,
People just don't really know about it because they're not maybe like widely publicized
yeah.
due to the smaller nature of it, right?
Sure,
So it's more
sure.
like word of mouth, or you see it on a post or something a little more ticketed, maybe like 100, 50, 100 people
Yeah,
kind of sitch,
yeah,
which honestly is a completely different experience from
yeah,
going to a massive club. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, if you have any sort of questions, comments, please ask us in the comment section.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure we'll be more than happy to answer it. And hopefully I don't get into any sort of fights after this or
Yeah.
disagreements. Thank you so much for being here today. I think this is the
Thanks.
first or maybe second time that we've hung out in the day.
Who
All right. I'll see you at some point, I'm
says it's
sure.
the day? It
Yeah,
could be.
oh, who knows anymore
Okay.
with artificial lighting, like
Yeah.
what time it is. Okay, we'll catch you again real soon.
Yeah.
Congrats again on your music. Please tell our followers
Oh,
and listeners about your new stuff.
thank you. So once again, my name is MYRNE. I just put out a song. It's called Carousel. I'm going on tour in the US next month. And let us know what you think about today's episode in the comments, and send this episode to anyone that's giving you problems.